I was camping with my boyfriend's family. Me, my boyfriend, his brother, and his brother's friend went to a remote lake, 30 minutes from our campsite. The lake was a hidden one, a little bit secluded from the rest of the campsite. When we got down to the lake, I was blowing up an inner tube when some guy came with a bicycle, dropped it on the floor, came next to me, and laid down on a bench that I was sitting on. No big deal, I thought. He was just resting. So us four get in the water. I noticed 30 minutes later, the man is sitting up and is now muttering to himself while looking at us. Eventually, the guy started yelling incoherently at us and getting closer. My boyfriend gets out of the water and walks past the guy to get our towels from the car. I thought that he was on the phone. Turns out the guy is talking about drowning a family just for the fun of it. My boyfriend calls his parents and the cops. We all get out of the water once he tells us what's going on. The man started coming closer to us, then turning back, then coming closer again, and turning back. He does this for a few minutes, then comes over to us, talking crazy, saying that he wants to hurt us because we came to the lake. My boyfriend tells him to go away, and so he starts walking away. That's when we see the machete on his belt. He turned around, came back, and walked straight up to my boyfriend. While talking to my boyfriend, his demeanor changed, and he says, "I respect you, no problem, but that doesn't mean I can't hurt you." Then he walks away. We would have to pass him to get to the car, so we were hesitant to leave. Of course, a minute later, he started coming back. Finally, my boyfriend's parents show up, and so does the deputy sheriff. The cop goes, "Doris, what are you doing here?" Talking about the strange man. It turns out he was high out of his mind and drunk and borderline schizophrenic. The cops knew him, and he knew the cops. The cops talked to him, slowly approached him, and took the knife away. They escorted him away in handcuffs, sat him in the car, and drove away. The rest of us drove back to the cabin in an uneasy spirit. A new apartment encounter. Leia had been searching for a new home for weeks, exhausted by the competitive rental market. Late one night, she stumbled upon a Craigslist ad that seemed too good to be true. Spacious dream home, incredible deal, must see. The photos showcased a stunning, modern house with every amenity imaginable. The rent was surprisingly low for such a luxurious property. Intrigued, Sarah sent an inquiry about the listing. A prompt response came from a person named Bram. He was friendly and enthusiastic, claiming that he needed a tenant as soon as possible due to a sudden job relocation. He suggested they meet in person to discuss the details and show Leia the property. On the day of the showing, Leia arrived at the address that was provided. She was immediately struck by the grandeur of the house, towering over the neighborhood. A tall man with a charming smile greeted her at the door, introducing himself as Bram. Bram led Leia through the immaculate home, showcasing each room as if he were presenting a masterpiece. The place seemed too perfect to be true. Leia couldn't believe her luck. They chatted about her job, interests, and future plans, creating a sense of camaraderie. As they talked, Leia's skepticism wavered, and she found herself eager to move into the house. Bram, sensing her interest, suggested she submit an application right away. A few days later, Leia received a contract from the landlord Bram. It outlined the terms of the lease and requested a security deposit and the first month's rent up front. Despite her initial hesitation, Leia was drawn in by the thought of living in such a splendid house. She wired the money, eager to secure her future. A week after moving in, Leia noticed strange occurrences. They began to disturb her peace. Objects went missing and then reappeared, and she often felt an eerie presence in the house. Her unease grew, and she decided to investigate what she's been experiencing. Leia was determined to confront her unease. She began researching the house's history. To her surprise, she discovered that the house had been vacant for years due to a string of mysterious deaths. The deaths were ruled as accidents, but there were rumors of foul play. Disturbed by her findings, Leia delved deeper into Bram's background. She was shocked to find that he had no online presence before the rental ad, and that his contact information was untraceable. Leia's fear escalated, and she reached out to the local authorities. The the police began investigating Bram's true identity and the history of the house. Late one night, Leah heard footsteps echoing through the house. Heart pounding, she grabbed a flashlight and followed the sound to the basement. There, she discovered a hidden room filled with old newspaper clippings and photographs, all pointing to the previous occupants' mysterious deaths. Just as she realized the gravity of the situation, Bram appeared, his charming demeanor now replaced with an uncomfortable grin. He admitted to luring tenants to the house, using the allure of the luxurious property to hide his true intentions. He had been exploiting their naivety for his own sadistic pleasure. Leah's survival instincts kicked in, and she managed to evade Bram's grasp. She bolted from the basement and called 911. The police arrived just in time to get a hold of Bram, who was attempting to flee. The investigation revealed a chilling pattern of deception, manipulation, and violence. Leah's bravery and determination had exposed a predator who had been using rental ads to trap unsuspecting victims.